Hello, it's CJ Miller. I'm in my apartment in Shreveport, Louisiana. Across the Red River is beautiful Bossier City, Louisiana. Okay, so, um, I've always been a little obsessed because my favorite hot wing um, used to be Blazing Hot Wings or Blazing Wings, uh, and they don't make them anymore. They do make the Blazing Chunks. It's not the same. I am so sorry. It is just not the same uh, as a bone-in chicken wing portion. I know that commercial with the water wings or whatever, and the guy's like, "This, I know what a wing is, and that's not a wing." And then they like kind of make fun of his like ranting about the wing or whatever. But the truth is, um, not only that, but the blazing chunks. They taste different. The batter is different than the blazing wings. So there's something that they're doing that's a little different than what used to happen with those wings. But at the Louisiana meat store, let me see what the name of it is. Let me show you the package, really. Hang on. Okay, so these were made for, you know, mass cooking, mass kitchens. People, a lot of cafeteria kind of stuff. Anyone who does anything like that. School cafeterias, hospital cafeterias, that kind of stuff. Um, well, this store, which is the Louisiana, uh, the Louisiana Meat Market, uh, sells anything of this sort, and also like raw meat products in large bulk and everything like that. And it's really just amazing. Like you can go there if you have a house, like a large number of people in your house. See, I consume a lot of these, so I would this works for me. Uh, Buying it this way is cheaper than actually going to a Walmart or a Sam's Club even, and requires no membership. Uh, but so this isn't a promotion. I'm just talking about I like this particular meat market. It's not your butcher store meat market. But what happens? Oh, my oven is preheating, so I'll just talk through this until it heats up, and that'll be my my time to let me know that I've talked too much. Um, so this is very good. Now this is uncooked breaded chicken wings. It has a flavor to it that has a little bit of a black pepper, almost a country. To me, it almost tastes like your if you were doing popcorn chicken. So it's almost as if they traded the hot wing for the popcorn chicken, just in the world. Like I'm living in a flip side. Vinyl used to have a side B. That's your flip side, by the way, kids. So your 45 records, those are your singles on vinyl. You'd have your side A, that was your single release from your album. And then on the back side would be another song, sometimes in the album and sometimes a song that didn't make the album. They would call that your B side or your flip side. Check into your vinyl. Vinyl is final. Okay, so anyway, yeah. What I did was I took this, which tastes very much like a peppery, like a black pepper kind of thing. It's got good, bell pepper, garlic powder, lots of stuff. I really didn't see a lot of uh, red pepper, cayenne pepper. And a lot of what I'll do with chicken wings when I get them home, and I love it. I love this pecan chicken wing that I get. But what I did was I shook some ground cayenne pepper on this cookie sheet with these wings. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if adding the cayenne pepper to these wings, and basically I should have taken them and tossed them in the, I'll probably do that. I'll probably take all these wings, put them in a bowl and kind of mix them around, toss them, and then lay them back on the cookie sheet, just because I want more organization. but I want more of this more evenly distributed pepper. But I do wonder if adding the ground red pepper or the cayenne pepper, I wonder if that's going to suffice, because another treatment for this would be to take Crystal hot sauce, my favorite hot sauce that's of a cayenne flavor, and tossing it around the wings. And that gives me something very close to what I used to have with the blazing wings. Well, these are very familiar. And I thought maybe the one thing that was missing was that component of a spice, of a red hot pepper spice. So let's see what's up with that. I'm going to let you know. And because I did like a whole YouTube, I went through like a whole season of my life trying to replace these blazing hot wings. And in some ways, I found something close that works for me. In some ways, I'm still trying to recapture what's wonderful. Now, and then occasionally I'll see this wing with a little piece of a feather sticking out. Oh, no, I thought that was just the Gotham Steel label. Okay, so if you see a wing, you could pull the little quill of the feather out or something if you see something like that. Before you cook it even. But let me pause the video. Let me give these a proper toss around. So why this is going to be awesome. This is 5 pounds for what I used to get 3 pounds for. Okay, let me tell you. When I first started buying the blazing wings that I'm talking about, they were like this, but they were spicy. When I started buying the blazing wings, they were 5 pounds, and they were, for a 5-pound bag, they were about $12 to $13. By the time they got around to changing it, the bags were there, but they were they kept going up. They kept getting more and more expensive. Now, I know COVID was going on, but not all of the chicken was increasing in price like these blazing hot wings. And they were getting the people used to the product, Pilgrim Farms or whatever it is. They were getting them used to the blazing chunks. I tried to transition, couldn't make it, whatever. So, I'm telling you, I went full on, let me find a recipe. I'm thinking this is really going to work. This is very similar, but because all the flavors are there except for the spice. What I'm thinking is, let me try this dry cayenne, this dry spice, red pepper, dried red pepper, cayenne pepper, whatever. Not a blend, not a mix, just straight ground cayenne pepper, because all the other mixes are here. Price-wise, those wings got to be something like $39 for a bag of 3 pounds. And then the pecan wings that I get, they're for about 2.3 pounds, because I price things by pound and by unit. I price compare. I'm really, when you're budget conscious, you do that. And so for about 2.3 pounds, I can pay around $10, which is not too bad. Not too bad. But 5 pounds of these wings, and they're smaller, so they'll cook a little fast. That's the one thing. The blazing wings were huge. So you get what you get, but that's okay. I had a bag of these. I tried them out without adding the red pepper, and they tasted pretty good. But I felt like if I had rolled them in some hot sauce or something, and then I thought, looking at the ingredients, well, if it's all there, everything except for the red pepper, if that's what I'm tasting, that's what I'm missing the taste, let me just try this. And if these are too hot, if I've gone too hot with the red pepper, it's okay, because I can just use the dip. I got plenty of dip for cooling them off. A little bit of blue cheese off to the side or something like that, I really think I'm so close to achieving my chicken wing dream. I'm going to take these, put them into the oven until they're done. These are thawed. I let them thaw in the refrigerator. If they were frozen, they'd go for an hour. They're thawed, so they're going to go for 45 minutes on the timer. And then I'll watch, because they're smaller, But where I cook them, It's usually right around 45 minutes. But I want to cook them at least until the breading of the wings get a little crunch. The wings will get done, and then the outside of them can still be a little soft if you let them go just a little bit longer, not overdoing it. Your wings will get a crunch. This treatment probably would only work if I'm baking. I think if I took this, and I can let them sit and everything like that, but the fact is if I try to put this in oil and fry them, I don't know that they're really going to do everything that they say they're going to do. The reason why I can thaw these out and eat them thawed, even though it says keep frozen, is because I'm going to eat all these within the next day or so. Within like by tomorrow, this whole bag will be gone. Because I'm still keto, so I can still eat as much meat as I want, and the breading on a chicken wing portion doesn't really supersede if you watch it. So this tray by tomorrow at midnight, like a whole bag of this thing, like a serving of these things doesn't have that much to do with, doesn't have that many carbs. That's what we're talking about with keto when I watch the carbs. The breading on here. This is not a thick breading either, so it's fine. Let me stop talking. The oven's hot enough. I'm going to cook these. And you're going to go on pause, but you won't know it. And by the time you come out, we'll be taking these out of the oven and we'll be doing a testing. Cross your fingers for me at this point. I really need a win on these chicken wings. I love what I'm doing with the pecan wings and the Crystal hot sauce. But I got to roll them in the Crystal hot sauce, and then I got to bake them, and they come out really, really close. But I think this is going to be, which one's going to be better? Or are they both equally going to be good? Let's see. Okay, so, I'm going to talk a little bit while I'm waiting for my wings to get done. By the time they're done, it's going to be so close to midnight. I went to a meeting with a friend, then we stopped over at his daughter's house and kind of visited with his family. His wife was there, his other daughter who lives in South Louisiana. They all were sitting around, so we sat around and visited. And by the time I got home, it was like, okay, it's so close to midnight, I can go ahead and start my meal. And by the time midnight comes around, my wings will be done. In a lot of my videos, I used to have a lot of LED lights around all over the apartment. I decided to tone those down. Unless it's like some sort of special event or whatever, I'm just not going to be using them. I'll use them outside, But yeah, it's like, whatever. Because I was finding myself being tempted using the lights like all the time. And it's like, do I really need all these lights on? Can I not conserve a little bit? I grew up in a household with the mother who was like, hey, when you're leaving the room, turn the light off. Oh, and if it's broad daylight, just open your curtain. If you need some natural light, you'd be surprised. And so my electric bill, because I budget, and I'm not like afraid to use my electricity. My AC is on all the time during the summer because I do not like to burn up and be too hot, But I try not to abuse electricity, natural resources, whatever we do, wind, coal, fossil fuels, whatever powers our electricity in our world and everything. I don't want to abuse it. I've always been a conservationist. It used to be about money. When we were growing up, it definitely was. When I was younger, a younger adult, it was definitely about money. But now, it's a little bit of an ecological concern. I have concerns for things outside of myself, Okay, buffalo wings. That's what they used to be called when I first discovered these things. There's a lure to it that somewhere in the 60s or 70s or something like that, a couple of dudes and his mom either owned or managed a little bar around Buffalo, New York. That's why they're buffalo, because that's where they come from, apparently, according to this, the backstory of it. And they were just sitting there drinking, and they wanted something, and it was like an off the menu thing. It was like, the woman, she just went back and she did some wings, real simple, and basically took the wings, chicken wing portions, and fried them. I don't think they were breaded. They weren't breaded. I think she either baked or put them in the deep fryer, whatever branded deep fryer, Frymaster, Fryolator, whatever, but fried them, and then tossed them in a barbecue sauce. So the original buffalo wings out of Buffalo, New York, originally were barbecue. And then, of course, if you know about barbecue flavors, you know that will differ from region to region to region. And some barbecues tend to get a little spicy, and gradually, and we got around to some of the. I think, I can't say this, but in my imagination, as the buffalo, if this is true, the buffalo wing craze would kind of like spread down and get a little, you know. I can almost believe it, and I can almost not. When I was a little kid growing up in the 80s, so this kind of, I don't know, there used to be the little TV dinners that we used to get, that we'd microwave, and they weren't Hungry Man or anything like that, and I don't think they were Banquet, but they were like something, I don't know, but it was like you'd get 3 little small chicken wing portions, and then some crinkle cut fries, and then a little brownie. And you would leave the plastic on the brownie, and maybe you'd leave the plastic on the fries, and then you would cook everything in the microwave 2 or 3 minutes or whatever as the wings got done. And then we never did think about, hey, why don't we just take these chicken wings out of the tray and cook them in the microwave, and then we could just put them back in, to be whatever, for more even cooking. Didn't think about that kind of stuff, but we followed it. And I think it might have been a Tyson TV dinner or something. It was the same people, whatever. It was something, I don't know if you remember that or not, but it was called Chicken Nibbles or something like that. It was a particular brand of this, and I think it was marketed towards teens, and this is my generation of the latchkey stay-at-home kid. We had to learn how to be self-sufficient. Now there's stuff on TV about like pizza rolls and just kids that can take care of themselves after school. That kind of there's food marketed for that. Back in the 70s and 80s, that was unheard of. We knew that there was a thing where parents had to go to work. Sometimes single parents or living alone or something like that would go to work and leave the kid at home by himself, and would have to know how to fend for himself, like make a damn sandwich, whatever. So, without having to be waited on by mom. I don't know what it was like generationally before that. I don't know. But yeah, so we had these things marketed to us, and this was the chicken nibbles, and I loved it. And so, but they weren't hot wings; they were just breaded little wings, like those. But they weren't like really flavored or anything like that. They were like basically flash fried in a hot oil to get that breading coated to the chicken, in whatever way the factory did it, and then they were put into the frozen dinners. But I love those things, but they stopped making them. Sometime, imagine as the buffalo wing recipe though, as it, if there's any truth to that, then as it kind of moved down through the different regions of the country, then the barbecue sauces would add their influences, and by the time you get to the Cajun communities, the St. Louis still clings to some of their Cajun roots. There's a Louisiana hot sauce made in St. Louis. No, it's a Louisiana hot sauce that's made in St. Louis, Missouri, but there's also one that's a Louisiana hot sauce that's made in Louisiana, Missouri, or whatever, or maybe I've seen both of those labels. I've seen both of those labels. Reading the back, where is this stuff made? Say, and then of course, and I used to take some sort of offense. This is not Louisiana hot sauce, but the truth of the matter is that entire third of the country going up used to be a part of the territory that was acquired from France by the U.S., and it was known as the Louisiana Purchase, and so that was French North America that runs throughout our country. All of that French territory was bought in the Louisiana Purchase, and they have a claim to that history, you know. So anyway, but by the time you get down to New Orleans, Louisiana, and some of those places, yeah, there's some barbecue hot wings, but they're really starting to experiment with hot wings. So they go from barbecue wings to, you know, hot barbecue sauce, to kind of fading out the barbecue flavor, the traditional, and going more to a hot sauce. And then these blazing wings, I swear, the flavor of the Crystal hot sauce was so much like what I would take. And it's like, okay, but Crystal hot sauce is a lot like Tabasco sauce. It's a lot like Louisiana hot sauce. The prime flavor there is ground red pepper or cayenne pepper in this sauce, with a little with this that's comprised of vinegar and what they say spices. That means so little of the spices that it's so incidental to any sort of nutrition that it doesn't have to be listed. So just by, you know, whatever. But Crystal hot sauce is great. It's very similar to Tabasco. To a Tabasco. Somehow they have a slight distinct difference in flavor, and I think what it is I think that Tabasco, to me, you know, maybe is not as hot as the Crystal hot sauce, but aside from that, Crystal has the flavorful vinegar with it also. So, you know, it's so weird how that is. But then there's another type of hot sauce called Tiger sauce that comes out of Louisiana, Metairie, Louisiana, the same place that Crystal comes out of, by the way. Probably the same factory, but it's the red pepper, the vinegar, and then it has sugar to balance out the heat, because that's if you get a hold of something that's too sweet, milk will help antidote that, but so will sweet balances out hot. So but yeah, so knowing a little bit about food chemistry, and then not just chemistry about how it cooks, but also how flavors, how it affects the flavors and everything, is kind of fun, you know. Geek like me. Okay, so I've gone on and I've talked for a little bit longer than I thought I would. Let me go in and peek on these wings in here. I know they're not done. I just want to peek at them. Okay, I just looked at them, and yeah, they're going to be pretty good. You know, sometimes you can tell from an aroma of a food, because aroma is closely related to your palate. When you get the fragrance coming through your nose, it does go through all the airwaves that's in your head, basically, and there are flavonoids in the air that will you will get a taste, you know. And if you have a sensitive palate like mine, which is so funny, because I have a very sensitive palate, but I'm very tolerant of spicy red peppers, and I'm from Louisiana. You get used to that kind of stuff. And like I said, this is one of these things that if you get it a little too spicy, you just dip it, and that'll tone it down. And I've got several ways of dips, whatever. But I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to be one of these things that it's going to maybe start out kind of a moderate flavor of the heat, of moderate heat, but then the more of them that you eat, the spicier they get. Um, so I'm excited for it because it's my experiment. When I tasted these the other day, I was like, wait a second, I can taste the onion, I can taste the celery, I can taste the bell pepper, I can taste the garlic, and the black pepper and all these. What I cannot taste is any cayenne. So yeah, that's gonna be. And there are two versions of these wings. One that has those Cajun flavors that I just told you about, that has a pleasant flavor as it is. It's just not. It's just not spicy. And then the other one was just a basic wing. That wasn't spicy. Like they call this a spicy wing, and it is spicy, but it's not hot. There's no heat to it. So there's because not all spice is going to be hot. Some of it's just basically going to be aromatic. I really think this is a way to have some of these wings that if I were going to have some people over and they had different palates, different intensities. I want a really, really stupid hot wing, or I really want a mild wing, or I really want a wing without any kind of heat whatsoever. Might be the way that I could do that. And what's so great about this is taking the wings and tossing them in the dry rub. I'm sorry, there's a train across town. 1 second. Okay. So, yeah, I feel like what can happen is that if I had people over and they had different varying taste of the intensity of the heat on their wings, then the dry rub would be a better way to do it, because a saucy chicken wing, can sometimes pops right. It can get on. If it's near the wings that are supposed to be milder, then it can. I'm finicky. If I don't like a certain food, then I don't want that certain food to touch the food that I would eat otherwise. That's why my plate on my food, if it's something, my portions need to be separate. My grandmother said it best: if the food is juicy, I don't want the juices running into each other, that kind of stuff. So, other than that, I don't mind things touching each other, but if they're saucy or juicy or something, they need to be kept kind of separate on the plate, and then let the person eating decide if they want to have their foods kind of mixing. And you have this whole what's the word I'm looking for? It's almost a vulgar expression where it's like, well, it's all going to the same place. Um, you know, um, there's only one destination in this universe. Anyway, there's only one place. There's only one condition. It doesn't matter what we know, what we think, whatever it is, whatever happens. At the end of it all, it's there. The only thing that really matters is the route by which we get there, because we're all gonna end up dead. So the life is the route that we're taking on our way to death. Yeah, and what would make death sweet and welcoming is to live a long, full life. Live the fullest life that you can live, and then when it is time, you can pass on without regret. That's my philosophy. See, I will find deep philosophy here. I'm finding it in food. Uh, not at no, yeah, yes, all the foods go into the same place, but that doesn't mean it's all got to get there uh, the same way. I don't want food that I don't want to eat touching food that I would eat. Yeah, well, that's a little OCD. Whatever. There you go. Therapy with food. Food therapy. Food therapy for life. That should be my slogan. No, come in and eat. We'll do some art. Then I'll do some peer support therapy, kind of blah 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 blah. Whatever. I don't know. I don't care. Okay. Never mind that. What's been going on in your world? You know. Uh, there's Shreveport, downtown Shreveport, and you know, I think it's fun. I love it. You know, I love living here. It used to not be as exciting as I would want it to be, but that was a matter of perception. It was a matter of not just knowing, hey, I don't have to run all over the world and backpack everywhere, and I don't have to be so nomadic. I can get someplace and get settled, and when I want to, when I really, really want to, bad enough, and it makes it even sweeter, save a little bit of money, and then I can take a trip, a vacation, like most people do when they want to do something different, when they want to see something different. They'll take a day trip or a weekend trip, or they'll go away for a week, sometimes longer, whatever. I once went with the on a vacation to Emerald Isle in North Carolina. Now I didn't pay for this trip, but I was in a committed relationship, and yeah, and I was his plus one, uh, and so yeah, and that was a that was damn near a month long trip. We took a trip, went there, stayed with some friends that he knew that he wanted to visit in the area because he had gone to college in Raleigh, North Carolina. So we stayed one night with this married couple, this older married couple. Then we stayed one night with another couple. The first couple was straight. The other couple, they were partnered, and yeah, I don't know that full situation, but they were living together, and the guy was all about spinning DJ music and everything. I was like, oh, yeah, great, whatever. And I went and listened to him that night in his room spinning, and it's like, okay, gee, you're in your room spinning records, and I'm bored as shit, so I'm going to bed. You know, like we could have went to a club and danced or something. I was still like I like to dance, by the way. But then we went to visit a friend of his who was basically footing most of the bill for this. So she was basically putting everybody. We went and stayed with her for a week in this one hotel room on Emerald Isle until the cabin was available that we were going to go stay at with all these other families for 2 weeks. So and then the trip to and from. So that basically turned out to be a month-long vacation, give or take. And it was fun, and that was when things were good in that relationship. So it was, they hadn't had time to really, it was new enough that it hadn't had time to really go bad yet. For me, relationships, I'm pretty good. I think my history on relationships shows about 5 years. Now, I've been in relationships for about 5 years, and they kind of, they work out, and then and and it's as much on the other person's part as on my part too, and that's okay. Anyway, I'm not talking about relationships. I'm talking about food. Food. Let me pause this. No, I've only been going on for about 10 minutes. Okay. Uh, yeah, but that's what I do now. Is I chill out, settle down, love Shreveport. See, I'm getting back to it. Love Shreveport. I didn't used to always love it, but now I know, hey, when it's really nice if I want to do something that's a little different, is I actually can save some money and then I can go someplace, and uh, then I can come home, you know? And by doing so, every time I want to do something different, I don't have to leave an entire apartment full of furniture. That I come someplace, settle down, some random town where I find myself, and I say, whew, I can't run. I can't run anymore, or whatever. I got to get someplace and, uh, basically, shake back a little bit, get someplace and get some sort of apartment, get some furniture, get this, that, whatever, and then, whew, God, now I'm rested, and now I'm restless. Being rested and being restless used to mean the same thing to me. But, I don't know. I was always, I don't know. I don't know. I was looking for some authentic experiences and trying to achieve them by inauthentic means, and I don't know. I don't think that, I don't think today, having the knowledge, I don't know that I would make the same choices. I'm pretty sure that I wouldn't. But I also think some of those choices are things that you can't tell people about. They have to make those choices, and it's going to work or it's not going to work. People have to make their own mistakes. They have to have their own successes, their own failures. They have to really come into their own personhood without somebody else trying to shape them. It's rough. It's rough. It's kind of like someone being diabetic, and what they really want to do is just eat a whole bunch of cake and ice cream and cookies, and they have to make those choices. They have to learn for themselves what's good for them or bad for them, and they have to really, really strive to find that strength within themselves, be it come from God and through them or through their own, whatever it is. You got to find that strength to resist what you find so tempting and the change that we want to resist. I'm diabetic. Once you're diabetic, you're diabetic, But I've been asymptomatic for many years because instantly changed my, not instantly. I instantly changed my ways. Not instantly. Maybe within that first week. I basically had a little talk with food and related, what hey, there's some things I'm going to miss, but we'll visit each other every few months, that kind of thing. It really kind of was like that. And because when they told me that I had this type 2 diabetes, adult onset, and it was within my power to not have those symptoms, and it was just a matter of a few pounds, like 15 or 20 pounds at that point, I was like, that's not going to be the reason why one day I end up losing a limb. It was either going to be I was just going to eat myself into gross obesity, or I was going to recover from my own bad food habits and everything, as I knew that I could recover lifestyle changes because I had already done that when I had given up drugs, including alcohol. And because of that challenge, that I knew that when I needed to think about not being symptomatic with type 2 diabetes, I already knew that I could change because I already had changed. So I don't know if the what's the meaning? Why am I an addict? Why am I addicted? Why me? And I went through all this just so that I can come through. No, I don't think that's. I don't necessarily think that's causality. Actually, if you think about it, I think that stubbornness with food and everything is just an extension of that kind of behavior that I didn't want to give up. Uh, Drugs back in the day. I didn't want to, um, until I faced a consequence that hey, I'm not getting any more sane using these drugs, and yeah, So I had an awakening. Well, I had an awakening with food. Well, I had an awakening with food. Okay, let me pause this video. I'm gonna go spend some time with the wings, see how they're coming along. Maybe they're close to us testing out. But yeah, no. So we got some recovery with food and everything, philosophy, and yeah. Either way, we're all gonna we don't whatever we believe, whatever, whether we're right or wrong, whatever our ending is, whatever it is, we're all gonna be there, or we're gonna be nowhere. Whatever it is, it doesn't really matter. What matters in this particular lifespan, this life experience, is basically what do we do with this particular consciousness that we are given. Sum it all up. Now let's go enjoy some flavors. Okay, so they need about 5 or so more minutes, but I tell you, they're going to be wonderful. I think this is really going to be the thing. Like, I'll have to do sometime down the road. I'll have to do a taste comparison between the way that I was doing the wings, which is basically a non-flavored breaded wing. I think it maybe the pecan encrusted wings were good, because I kind of like that smokiness underneath it. But then what I did was just you did the crystal hot sauce, so we didn't have the same complexity of flavors that we're getting here. Certainly not. There's a more variation. When I tasted these, even without the hot sauce, it was like, okay, I'm getting layers, and I'm getting, I'm kind of vibing on that. But that's one of the things about, Cajun, Creole, French-inspired food, is that you get, a story upon your palate. One of the things that I do, and this is so simple, and I will call it either Fiesta chicken. Somebody's revving up. Well, it's a Friday night. Fiesta chicken, or with Fiesta wings or something like that. It's basically where I bread the wings, or I cook the wings. They've already been breaded or whatever, but there's not. But instead of hot sauce, what I use is salsa. You're dipping salsa. Your favorite brand would work on this, and just kind of pour it on the chicken and then bake them. Roll the chicken in the salsa, whatever, and then bake them on a. You can't fry it this way, but you can sure bake it. And so it's really good. Now with a large boneless, skinless chicken breast that's breaded, or any sort of other chicken or something like that, if you want to, you can take some shredded cheese. You actually could top the. If you did the Fiesta chicken in a plate, the Fiesta wings, and kind of piled them together on a plate, and then you could like melt some Mexican blended cheese or something like that on top of the salsa. That's even great. You could do this with chicken strips. You could do it with you could do it as a yeah. So I love that. So you want to make sure that your people love really Mexican, Tex-Mex kind of stuff. If you want to, with that, take a jalapeno. I'm not really big into jalapeno, but you can uh, you know, chop up a jalapeno into little disc jalapeno and just kind of place them on top of that. You know, I'll tell you something. If and I'm wondering now, it was my idea to use the salsa on the chicken. We had somebody else in a restaurant. They used kind of like a nice seasoned breaded chicken, and then they used cheddar cheese and jalapeno pepper. And what she used to say, and she may have called it Fiesta chicken. I started mine with the wings, with the salsa and the wings, and I called it Fiesta wings. So I can take credit for that name for that, you know, because I'm totally unaware of anybody else Fiesta wings. But anyway, yeah, and it may be an echo to this person, and she's not with us anymore. But she invented this thing called no, yeah, she must have called it Fiesta chicken. That must be what it's from. But her philosophy was that if you take cheddar cheese and jalapeno and put it on anything, people will buy it. So it was a restaurant sell. So it was basically, because it's true, till you go out to a food truck, if there's cheese and jalapeno on your nachos, basically your nacho, basically. Your nacho flavors on top of fried chicken is what she did. Uh, yeah, but that was kind of her treatment. And she worked in a few different restaurants around town. At every place she went, she took that recipe. So I don't necessarily think I intentionally. The name was kind of inspired, but I didn't realize it until just now, so it doesn't count. But Fiesta chicken, or Fiesta, well, that's her thing. Fiesta wings for me, and basically it is salsa poured over breaded chicken wings, baked, and then topped with cheese. Or you could do it the other way around. You can lay the cheese on top, and then you could use the Fiesta as a sauce on top. And you, of course, use a lot less of it and let it be more of a sauce that you're going to get. But it's going to look more in the way that you would do if you were doing Italian, you were doing chicken parmesan, then you would not entirely encapsulate the breading of the chicken in the sauce. You would put just enough there, you know, to let people know that it's there, you know. So you could do that either kind of ways. But Fiesta chicken, and what to serve with it? Well, if you're uh, Latino culture or something like that, you might go with the black bean. I don't really care for black beans. And I can't say that I don't really care for black beans. I've never eaten a black bean. I will never eat a black bean unless somebody like holds my head open and shoves them in my mouth in some horrible horror movie kind of thing. Then I would have to have the, but that's not me eating it. That's somebody forcing it down my throat. That's what it would take. Um, but yeah, anything. Your Spanish rice. Um, you know. Yeah, yeah. I don't know where, and I don't know why, but Cuban food, when I lived in South Florida, Miami-Dade, there was a lot of, the Cuban food was everywhere, and black bean and cabbage. And of course, fried chicken. Uh, Fritas pollo, you know, kind of goes like everywhere. Fried chicken is everywhere, and there's some sort of fried potato. Anywhere there's potato in the world, there's a fried version of a potato. So, let me go inside and look. I really do feel like it's time for me to take a nibble of these spicy chicken wings that I did and see how they compare. I'll know from the first bite. Really, I know now from aroma that I love them. But if I bite into it and it's too spicy, then I'll need to grab some, you know, something to dip that stuff with, you know. And, oh yes, by the way, I just came inside and, yep, it was time for me to check the chicken. Why haven't you checked the chicken? You get it from When a Stranger Calls. Why haven't you checked the children? But why haven't you checked the chicken? Okay, so these look done. these look done, and it's like sometimes when you do a baked chicken portion that's on the bone or something like that, people will complain about this little. That is your natural, like your juices that come out, and then they get, uh, you know, what's the word? Scalded, not scalded. Was that? My sister would be making such fun of me right now. She'd be like, "Good scald on that chicken," but no, from that movie about fried green tomatoes, with a good scald on that chicken. So, but really, it would be like, yeah, char, like a good char. But that's that happens with any kind of chicken that has a bone in on it or something like that. So don't, if you get something that looks a little, it's basically you can just knock it off, or you could just pile it and turn it to its side or something like that. That's one of the things that people the blazing wings, they would complain because, oh my God, if you bake them, then they get this back. Well, you know what? That's just part of the baking thing. But whatever. If you want to, if you're a little squeamish, don't eat that bit. I don't know. But it's really just the juices, the natural juices, as they're coming out of the chicken, and they get hot, and they get a little, one of the things that you could do if you wanted to is you could turn down the heat in your oven and let these cook a little bit longer. But if you get a couple of spots like that, that's how you know that your chicken is done. It is, whatever. And then if you're going to take these if you're going to roll them in a sauce anyway, you wouldn't even know that. You wouldn't even see that portion. You'd be surprised how many times you go to a chicken restaurant and get chicken wings, and they're in a sauce, but before they were in a sauce, they some of their juices have come out and gotten a little bit charred, But anyway, I wanted to let this sit here and rest, and I have. So now I'm going to plate them up. And I would like to show you how most of these chicken pieces, when they're done, they just release from this cookie sheet. There's a Gotham Steel cookie sheet. I use different cookie sheets for savory and different for sweet. So I don't use like the pans that I cook cakes and stuff in. I don't use those cookie sheets or anything like that. Certainly not without lining them first, because something that's cured with like savory flavor, it will seep into your sweet flavor, and vice versa. Although with sweet, it really doesn't matter. Like if you use something that you may have primarily cooked a lot of sweetness on, and then you decide to turn around and use that for savory baking, I don't think that sweet would bother the savory that much. But the savory, especially a spicy savory flavor, would definitely adulterate the flavor of, say, a sweet muffin or something. So beware of that. And I have here some wings. They're spicy, but I have a dipping cup in case I need it. And this is basically, you'll find this kind of stuff under various brands, very similar. Some of them have a little horseradish to add a little spice. Some of them, maybe they'll lean a little bit towards the sweeter side, but they're all blends of mayonnaise, touch of ketchup, touch of mustard, and this is nothing new at all. When I was a little boy in St. Mary Parish, we'd have fish fries. Great big we'd go out, I say people, no, little kids, we'd go out and we'd fish in our Bayou Buff or Bayou Bluff. I don't know. It was in Amelia, Louisiana. We lived basically across the street and down a path, and we would fish and we would swim in the same location, whatever. So, and like everything was there. The same place where we swam, we once got eel, because it is down by the delta, the mouth of the Mississippi River. So you're going to get some saltwater and freshwater, the things that can survive in both, in that brackish environment, you're going to get a little, you know, yeah, so whatever. Wild people, And now, I'm from Shreveport, but we did live down there for several years, and so that's where my stories. But I am born in Shreveport. Anyway, let's take this chicken and taste it first. Like maybe it's one of those pieces of feathers. Sometimes maybe you want to get rid of. Okay, let me taste it. You know what? This is exactly this. I like this treatment. Maybe I could back off on the pepper a little bit, but I really wouldn't want to. Not when this is wonderful. I could have gone spicier. Let's see if I can get through a whole serving of these with that kind of bravado. As much as I love what I have done, I love this even more than I love the Crystal hot sauce wings that I do. Now I've got to do a party for people who can deal with some hot wings, and I need to. This is going to be the theme of my party. I'm going to have wings laid out the various ways that I've tried them, including those chunks. And we're going to see, first off, which people think that it's closest to that. But also, this is pretty damn spot on. And also, I'm eating yeah. Listen, this, the wing that I do with the Crystal hot sauce, very close to this, but these are better, and I think it's because it's a dry recipe. If that particular recipe were to take red cayenne pepper and stir it into their batter, they would have this. This is damn near the perfect wing. Okay? I've even got some sweat coming down my face having eaten that first wing, but God, the flavor is such that I don't want to waste any of this. Crumbs and all that. I don't care. I don't even know why I got this. But I did open it. Let's at least not waste it. This can work as a palate cleanser. There is a little bit of a spice to the dipping sauce, but you want to have some celery. Maybe if you're going to serve this with people, some celery, carrot, dippable raw vegetables, so that they can, if they need to, cleanse their palate every once in a while between bites. And that works. It's a leftover dipping sauce from Captain D's, the fish restaurant. But so it's a little bit more on the vinegary side because it's fish and chips. You want to do vinegar with fish and chips, which, following it up with just the straight up wings without the dipping, but there's a little bit vinegariness in my palate. Kind of reminds me of what it's like to have the Crystal hot sauce on the wings. So, whatever. Not necessary, but a nice welcome addition. But the star is oh my God. So, what you want to do if you want to get these wings is you want to order them by the order number that's on that package that was in the video. I discovered this particular treatment, not what I've done here, but the wings that I've been trying to emulate, the blazing wings. I discovered them because they were originally made for, uh, mass cafeteria servings, large, that's what they were made for. And couldn't find them anywhere in the stores. And then one day I did, blazing wings, and I'm like, holy hell, let me try those. And well, actually, blazing wings. And then what I would do is I would see them in Triple J's, gas stations, that kind of stuff. They were very much along the line of gas station food because you cook a lot of those too. But when I started to find them, and I'm telling you, I love them so much, I would go in Shreveport to the Triple J. I think the name of it's changed, but it used to be Triple J on Stoner Avenue. The store's still there. It's just called something else, I think. Whatever. But I would go there for the blazing hot wings. It was the only place that I could find them. And then I found them in stores. And then I could bring home and cook myself. And that really was, and then that for many, many years, I lived for those wings. My favorite treat. Then I found out, praise be everything, that they are perfect for my keto diet. My favorite food fits my perfect dietary requirements every time. Perfect. Couldn't, like, so the thing that I love the most in the food world is the thing that I get to have. And that was, oh, thank you, God's grace, whatever. I mean, I was like, oh my God, that was when I knew, hey, things were going to really be okay, right? I knew things were going to be okay anyway, but I knew that I would enjoy them being okay. So, and then they quit making them and instead went to those blazing chunks, which is a different experience. I'm only using the dip because I've opened it and it's there, but I really prefer these without the dip, This is the pinnacle of my wingness. Now, I know that technically I did not create this. The only thing I did was add the red pepper to a recipe that was already there. It makes sense because some young children have sensitive palates and don't want a hot wing. So if they don't serve the hot wing, but if they prepare them without the hot, then they could, send them out to a lot more people. I get it, and it probably made fiscal sense, but why the blazing chunks then? No, nobody wants to eat. Well, okay. Now, have you enjoyed this video and me eating this? Look at this. This is the way you eat a wing. Leave nothing. Like, nope. I'm terrible. Like, I'll come through here and like, leave you no gristle. Okay, that's how you eat a wing. Listen, I was once working in a bar and grill. Made some wings. I cooked them. It was a hot wing version, but it wasn't as awesome as all this. Oh my God, this is amazing. That particular brand is called Chestnut Hill of the red pepper. But really, it's kind of like, it really wouldn't matter. There are some variations between different crops of the cayenne ground red pepper, the cayenne kind of red pepper. But typically a jalapeno is a jalapeno, a banana pepper is a banana pepper, a ghost pepper is a ghost pepper, that kind of thing. There's, it's, you're really gonna love this if you try this. If you can't get a hold of these wings that have the those Cajun aromatics, that is with the bell pepper, onion, celery, or whatever, then try just getting some, ground up bell pepper blend, ground up everything, and maybe like if it's dried, maybe put it in a food processor and turn it into a powder or something like that, and then add it to your breading. I think I could easily create this from scratch if I had to, but that's not what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to finish eating this, and then I'm going to set about planning a celebration. Persons to attend, they must love a little bit of spice because they must taste to tell me what they love. It's going to be a special thing. It'll be a celebration of me finding the wing, or either that, or I'll just wait until one of my 12-step groups or something has like a holiday, and then I'll take some of these wings to them. I think that's what I'll do. I'm not going to tell anybody the secret behind this. This got a twang to it. The twang comes in the form of the breading itself, and then the heat of the cayenne pepper, and then you dip a little sauce here or whatever if you want to. You don't need it. I'm so excited. Okay, let me stop talking so I can get back to my food. Ah, yes, if I touch the corner of my eyes, it's going to burn. If I tell you how sweaty I am, hang on. I will flip this around. I'll put my glasses on because, hey, the air conditioning is on, and I am sweating from the heat of this spice of this chicken. That's what I love. But what's great about this is it's got such a balance of flavor that I don't even notice the heat, but obviously it's making me sweat my ass off, or my face off. So, until next time, bon appetit, love and light. Come see us in Shreveport, Bossier, Northwest Louisiana, whatever. And bye.